testify and give his witness and let folk know in uncertain terms that he was a Christian and that God was in charge and that Jesus was his king. And I think that's what Deacon Clarence sung about this morning. I think that's what Reverend Marcus sung about this morning, that Jesus is the king. Jesus is in charge. If you got Jesus, you got enough. And I was, about that election thing, I was concerned till I heard one of those conservative fellows say, well, we had to put up with 8 years of your president. I say, you sure right. You got that right. I'm like my man said, I won. And so y'all can shut up and be quiet. And so if you can put up with my man, I guess I can put up with your man. But just in case you think Brother Trump is the king, I come to tell you about another king. Just in case you think this fella that put his britches on one leg at a time can do what the other 44 fellas before him did, putting their britches on one leg at a time, I got bad news for you. He's just the man. He's not the king. And then there are those who follow him who are racist. And I would say, well, I'll dismiss the racism and just chalk it up to stupidity. He can't do no more than the other fellas did that was before him. But as I listened to the other folk or read the other folk on Twitter, I say they talking like us in the barber shop. On Twitter. They talking like us in the beauty shop on Twitter. So they ain't dumb as I thought they were. They know this man can't do any more than any other man. And so then it went back to racism. I heard Dr. King say they gave us the Bible and gave the other folk racism. No matter how bad off you are, you're going to be better than them other folk. And at the end of the day, they working from paycheck to paycheck like us. The fellow that lived in a trailer yesterday don't have any more yesterday than today, and he may not have that much tomorrow if he don't stay on his knees and come to this king that I'm talking about this morning. Talking about worship, enter to worship the king and depart to serve. So if Jesus is your king, don't worry about it. I got good news. He's still in charge. He's still on the throne. He's the same today, yesterday, and forevermore. He took us through Reaganomics. He took us through Bushonomics and trickle down and all that type of stuff. And we survived. And not us, but Christ in us. So don't be worried. But put your hand in God's unchanging hand. For the God I serve is able. He's not asleep. And he's still on the throne. Daniel in his days told Nebuchadnezzar, I saw a stone cut out of the mountain. Not made by hand, and he's going to tear down the kingdoms of this world. Daniel said, I saw a stone hewed out of the mountain. I wonder, have you met that stone? Paul, he run up on the fellas one time, and they said, to the tomb of the unknown God. And he said, you got that right. That's the one you ought to be serving. That's the one you ought to be worshiping. That's the one you ought to put your hand in the hand of the man who stilled the water. That's the one you ought to put your trust in. Nothing new under the sun, but he's the same today, yesterday, and forevermore. And the same God that carried our foreparents, he is able to carry us if we just learn to worship him, if we just learn to trust him. But see, we got wise men in this thing, but see, we so wise and we so smart that we got more sense than God, but we got to let go and let God. He said, it's not by power, nor by might, nor by wisdom, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. You're up today, but there's no guarantee about tomorrow. The songwriter said, time is filled with swift transition, but hold on to God's unchanging hand. Somebody say, he may not come when you want him, but he's always on time because he was there all the time. And so I don't know what you come to do this morning, but I come to worship him. I come to praise him. I come to lift up his holy and righteous name, for he's worthy to be praised from the rising of the sun until the going down of the same. You got to enter the worship, and then you got to depart to serve. And so don't be like Herod, who represented the world, and somebody had told him he was the king of the Jews. And so when they told him the king has come, he got worried and upset. about to mess up his game and mess up his thing. And many people are like that, don't want to change. They want to be the boss. They want to be in charge. They know what to do better with their life than God know what to do. You don't know anybody like that, do you? Somebody call it pride. Somebody call it arrogance and hard heart and high-minded. But Paul was on his high horse one day and he got knocked down. And he was no longer the same. And so as we go into this Christmas season, before you get too full of your Merry Christmas, baby, you show the treatment nice and your eggnog and all that with the spike up in it and all that there. I come this morning again to talk about enter to worship the King and depart to serve him. Because Merry Christmas, baby, is the blues. He having trouble himself. That eggnog can't do nothing for you but leave you hung over. If you can't say amen, say ouch. And say, I'm going to do better this year, preacher, for Jesus is the reason for the season. It's not my birthday, it's his birthday. He ought to be the invited guest. He ought to be the guest of honor. But he's not a thief or a robber. He won't break in, but Revelation says, I stand at the door and knock. If you open up and let me in, I'll come in and sup with you. Is Jesus invited in your home this season? Is he invited in your heart? Has he done anything for you? Do you know anything about him? With him we can do all things, but without him we can do nothing. And so let him in this morning. These wise men, Herod was the king and he had a lot, but he didn't have enough. He thought he was the boss. He thought he was in charge. And if some other king come on the scene was going to mess up his thing, you know, they sent him down there to keep the other folk in line. Be the straw boss and keep the rest of the folk in line. But sometimes you got to be smarter than the coach. You know, the smart coach told the dumb quarterback, don't you run that play, run this play. And the quarterback ran the play he wanted to run and fooled around and won the game. And the coach was all upset, having a fit, acting a fool and carrying on and say, you dumb joke, I told you not to run that play. And the quarterback said, Coach, if I had been smart as you, we would have lost the game. So don't get too smart for your britches today. Know who it is that butter your cornbread. Know who it is in whose hands that you're in and who it is that brought you through dangers seen and unseen and kept you by day and by night. And then somebody say Christmas come but once a year and then it pays 6 months to pay the bill. But that ain't too wise. We got some wise folk in this thing and we got some smart alecks. Herod was a smart aleck. If Christmas come once a year and it take you 6 months to pay the bill, that make you a smart aleck and not wise. Smart aleck say, I know what to do with my life and I'm in charge and I don't need Christ. He wouldn't even go around the corner. When you find out and trying to be slick as a can of oil, he wouldn't even go around the corner and worship the Christ child. So y'all go find him and when you get through, come back and tell me. Trying to run game. You got to be careful who you let get in your ear. Don't get caught up with no sweet nothings because, you know, don't let them find you, fool you, and forget you. But we got some wise men and we got some smart alecks in this thing. The smart alecks say I can do what I want to do and how I want to do it and when I want to do it and I don't need Christ. And not only was Herod, but the priests and scribes and Pharisees, the church folk was in this thing. They got scared. Well, you've been in the Old Testament, you was looking for the Messiah. In the New Testament, you're looking for the Messiah. In between the Testaments, you were looking for the Messiah. And then here's somebody say, here the Messiah is. He's on the scene. And even the church folk got upset about to mess up their thing. You can be at church, but don't necessarily mean you're in church. You can't be born into this thing. You got to be born again. Born from that birth that only God and God alone can give. And I'm not trying not to get ahead of myself here, and I'm trying to hurry on to a close, but like I say, you got to go home a different way. Don't make no sense to come up here Sunday after Sunday after Sunday and week after week after week and do all that we do and nothing changed. Any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. All things are passed away and all things are become brand new. Somebody say, I looked at my hands and my hand looked new. I looked at my feet and my feet looked new. I looked at the sky and it looked so much bluer. But it wasn't a change on the outside, it was a change on the inside. Somebody say, something on the inside of me working on the outside of me. And so don't be a smart aleck. Don't think you slick and got game and can talk that talk, because God sit high and he look low. He's omniscient. He have all knowledge. He know your thoughts before you think them. Matter of fact, our ancestors who were limited in going to school on this side said he's so high you can't get over him, and so low you can't get under him, and so wide you can't get around him, but you must come in at the door. Don't be a smart aleck, but let go and let God and say, Lord, I'm yours. Have your way in my life. I don't know what to do with myself. And many times we find ourselves at the crossroad anyway. Don't know which way to turn, which way to go, listen to anybody, say anything, do anything, but we need the Lord. But there were some wise men. Maybe our ancestors, when the other folk were running around in caves, we were kings and queens and potentates and had sense and books and literature and writing and medicine. But now we want to walk around with our britches hanging off and looking like who did it, why, and what for, and we come from kings. We come from folk that had sense. And these wise men were astrologers, and that don't mean go look up your sign. Because you're looking for a sign, but if you trust in God, he'll give you a sign. You looking for a sign, what numbers to play, God? No, God ain't in all that. You want to come up, get your lesson. You want to come up, get your house in order, get your budget in order. I dare you to tithe and put God first. He said, prove me now, herewith saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open up the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing that you should not have room enough to receive. You want to come up, be a part of God's flow. You can't can all you get and get everything you can and sit on top of the can, but you got to receive with one hand and give with the other. It's more blessed to give than to receive. God will bless you to be a blessing. He'll flow that thing to you if you let him. And then we get mad, with folk that know how to handle that. If the pastor know how to handle his, we'll get mad. Somebody look at him. But he told you, he tried to keep that 21 time, and God tore him up, and God ain't had to tell him no more. So don't get mad at him because he know how to handle his, or learn how to handle yours. You spend all your money getting Pookie and Ray Ray out of jail and putting the house up and all that, and Buddy them ain't been to jail. Don't get mad at him. Tell Pookie and Ray Ray to stay their butt out of jail. Or do like my mama told me, if you go down there, I ain't come and get you out. And she helped a lot of folk, but I couldn't take no chance. So when it got too far left, old brother Chucky had to get on up out of there. And she told me about the Lord and told the Lord about me, and after a while she turned me over to him. Don't be a smart aleck, but be wise like these wise men. And we say three because they had gold, frankincense, and myrrh, but the Bible just say wise men. And so they studied the stars, and they saw this astrological phenomenon, and they went to find the king.